Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha. Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadam Tam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. Welcome to all for this session on Ganesha Purana with chapter 19, where Brahma will going to tell a new story to Vyasa. Till now, Vyasa, after being drowned in an ocean of confusion during in the beginning when he was trying to create the Puranas, he later came to know the reason for that is that he forgot to worship Ganesha before starting the Puranas. And on getting the way of worshipping Ganesha, the rituals to worship Ganesha, and that single syllable mantra, Vyasa naturally interested to know whether anyone performed it in the past. And then Brahma explained him that Brahma himself drowned in a similar confusion, facing obstacles in the beginning when he was trying to do the creation. But later he was saved by Gajanana by pleasing him with the same single syllable mantra. And not just that, even Vishnu, just after the creation, just when the creation was about to happen, Madhu and Kaitaba are the two Rakshasas, demons, which were created from the ears of Vishnu himself. And they started harassing Brahma. And when Vishnu went for a battle with them, he too had forgotten to worship Ganesha in the beginning, but then he is faced with problems that he could not able to defeat them. And upon knowing about this from Shiva, he got a six syllable mantra of Gajanana, and with that he pleased Gajanana, and he could able to defeat both the demons. And now, on hearing both these wonderful stories, Vyasa is delighted about the tales of Ganesha. And then he said to Brahma, that was the glorification of Siddhikshetra, where Vishnu did his meditation. That anyone who goes to the same Siddhikshetra, even today, if you go there, settle for a while, and perform your meditation on Ganesha, you too would get a similar kind of a Siddhi. And especially of Gananatha, which when heard removes all the evil, gives all desires, and increases merit. But once again, Brahma, please tell me another tale about Ganesha. For even though I have been drinking the nectar of those tales, I have not had enough. This is quite natural for anyone who got delighted about a particular person. And now Brahmyasa is hearing about this, about the supreme deity and his capability. But even Brahma in the beginning, before doing the creation, and Vishnu before killing the demons, they had pleased Ganesha with their penance. So he wanted to know more about Gajanana, Gajamukha. So he asked Brahma, and with that, Brahma starts another story. O son of Parashara, is he's addressing to Vyasa. I am going to tell you this expansive and auspicious tale of the Lord Ganesha, the god who presides over all other gods. He is the supreme deity. In the country of Vidarbha, there was a magnanimous and exceptionally courageous king, O wise Vyasa. That king was dwelt in the city of Kaundinya, and he had generous vassals and other kings as feudatories. 10 myriads of horses, elephants, foot soldiers, and chariots moved in front and behind him, and that was his glory when he was advancing for a fight, for a battle. Thousands of Brahmins depended on him and were very happy at his generous donations. His most illustrious wife was named Charuhasini, and her lotus face blossomed while her eyes were in the eyes of a young deer, ever devoted to the gods and the Brahmins. Utterly obedient to the law, she was loyal to her husband. Her life was her husband, and she was always obedient to her husband's command. Because of fate, she had no sons. Yet she was a beautiful woman. Often in Indian culture, we keep hearing that the women being most obedient to her husband. There is a scientific and a psychological reason behind that. If the couple do not have any children, whether one is obedient to the other doesn't make much difference for the society. But if couple had a child, then remember, it is always the mother who nurture the kids with a good manners, not the father. The father may, most of the time, father would support them financially, would take care of all the needs and requirements of the family. But then, when it comes to nurturing the culture in the kids, it is always the mother. And because of that reason, it becomes the responsibility of the mother to contribute the best citizens for the tomorrow's society, and the children can grow in a comfortable environment, never with a single parent. It's always when both the parents are together, the children brought up will going to be always much better. And for that purpose, in order to imbibe the required culture in the kids, it is essential for the women to keep their family intact. Because men, with their masculine qualities, are always outbound and quite social. And because of that reason, they may not much bother about bringing up the children or about the well being of their family. It's not necessarily always the absolute thing, but that is a general nature as per psychology. Whereas the women with their feminine quality are capable of compromising and ensuring that the family be together so that the children will going to have a comfortable atmosphere. So it is because of that reason it's always demanding on the women to ensure the family to be intact for the sake of children. But of course, sometimes that may be too much. And because of that reason, women do need to suffer a lot for the sake of society in order to contribute the best citizens for tomorrow. Well, in these years, it is essential for both husband and wife to ensure that they contribute equally to the family, so that it is essential for men to have some feminine nature, and it is essential for women to have some masculine nature, so that they could able to contribute both to the society as well to themselves. Well, let's continue with the story. Then once again, when Bhima was watching her, all her charming limbs radiant, the king was distressed since he was without a son. It is essential for the family inheritance of the kingdom to continue that they need to have a son. So the king spoke to the queen with these words. After giving up this kingdom, we are both going to great forest. Let's give up the kingdom and go to the great forest. The fate of a man who is without a son is definitely not heaven or happiness, nor indeed to the gods, except his offering or the father his food oblation. That means, as per the culture, father, the person who is not having a son, if he give any offering to the gods, the demigods, and then if he offer anything to his forefathers, to his previous generation, it's a karma in Indian culture called as Pitra karma. And in the Pitra karma, they offer oblation to their forefathers. But a person who is not having a son, even if he give any offering, neither his forefathers would receive it, nor the demigods would receive the offerings given by a person who is not having the son. That's basically once again in the comfort of the society. For the society to continue, the children are a must. My mother, my birth, my father, my house, my wealth, and my family, all these things are worthless. And in the same way, that a goose without water is useless, so too is my karma. It's all my karma that is coming back to me. For some unknown reason, we do not have any children. So when we do not have any children, it is better that it's better we give up this kingdom and go to the great forest. Having made this resolve, he summoned his two advisers, one of whom was named Manoranjana and the other is named Sumantu. Both were conversant with the polity and all the three Vedas, current affairs, and 64 arts. There are the number of art forms are assumed to be 64, and they are conversant in all those art forms. Coming at once, they bowed to the king, sage, and then Bhima. Bhima is basically the name of the king. He said to both of them, both of you protect my kingdom. Some bad karma that I had done in my previous birth, and because of that reason, my wife and me, we both do not have any lineage on, I mean, on either side, which will bring their happiness. That means we do not have any children, and because of that reason, we both are not happy. And because due to the same reason, we decided to give up the kingdom and go into the great forest and do the penance. And if we succeed for some unknown reason, if we succeed in getting the children, then we will return again. And at that time, you must give the kingdom back to me. But if not, if I don't come back, then you can divide this kingdom between you and you can take care of the entire kingdom. The king settled the kingdom, the king settled his entire uh, powers in this particular way, and then he decided to leave for the forest. So just before leaving for the forest, king made many offerings to Brahmins, and then he left the city with his young wife and his ministers. When he had gone the length of a field, he dismissed them all and he requested all of them to go back to take care of the kingdom so that he would proceed into the forest with his wife. But his two advisers, the ministers, they both said, O king, we are going with you. We will come with you. And not just we, even the friends and the townspeople, they are distressed and they all wish to come with you. But then the king said to them, Fear not, the two ministers will do the king's jobs for you. These two will protect you just as I have done. And sighing continually, the king spoke once more to the two ministers. I have given this kingdom to you both. By all means, if everything goes well, I may return back to the city. Let's hope for that and let me live peacefully. Accordingly, having given away everything, he left the city with his wife, and while wandering about, he saw a pond replete with lotuses, filled with various kinds of aquatic animals and adorned with trees in flower. On its bank, those two, king and his wife, saw a charming and auspicious hermitage where all was bliss and prosperity. Species of animals which basically are hostile by nature, such as elephant and the lions, mongooses and the snakes, cats and the mice, they are not engaging in any hostilities there. In there, on a seat of kusha grass, the two saw the tranquil sage Vishwamitra surrounded by surrounded by his disciples, earnestly engaged in the study of Vedas. Bowing before that great sage with their hands folded, they both held his feet and repeatedly expressed obeisance. The tiger of oath, Vishwamitra, the tiger of sages, repository of austerities, he made them to stand up, and knowing the situation, he spoke in gentle words to the king. The sage Vishwamitra said, O king, you will have son of great renown, who will possess all the qualities. Tell me, where have you come from, and what's your city be called? After that, the excellent king, I will work hard to destroy all your evil karmas so that you will going to have the children. The king Bhima said, O Lord, my city is called Kaundinya and it is in the region of Vidarbha. My name is Bhima and she is my wife, Charuhasini. We have tried diligently to obtain a son by vows, gifts, and austerities, and so on. But because of an evil act committed, probably in my previous births, that has not arisen in any god. The compassion has not arisen in any god. So, having left the kingdom, I have come to the forest where we both saw your footsteps. While wandering through many forests, I was made to come here by fate, as association with a good immediately gives an excellent result. For this reason, your blessing on me, who has undertaken Vedic recitation, sacrifices, gift giving, austerities, vows, and mantras, I may be destined to have a son. No doubt of it. As a result of your compassion and restraint, my wish will not now be in a vain. But what was the absolutely foul evil I committed in the previous birth? O sage, please tell me what counteraction you have devised for me in this matter to overcome that bad karma that I had done in my previous life. Brahma telling this story to Vyasa, he continued, the great sage Vishwamitra, having listened to his words, carefully told the king an ancient tale. Vishwamitra narrated the story. O king, you abandoned the rules of the family in your previous birth. These rules are based on the Vedas, the Shastras, the Puranas, and worldly custom. Because you have blinded by a lust for prosperity, all your ancestors constantly worshipped Gajanana. But on account of his anger, because you offered no worship to Gajanana, so because of his anger, you do not have any offsprings in this life. I'm going to tell you how Gajanana became your family deity, O great hero. Listen to this carefully from the beginning. King Bhima, the seventh man before you, was a king. That means in his previous generations, his father and his father's father, likewise, if you go 7 generations before, he was the king. Your forefather was a king who had one child, only one child, after a very long time. Even then, he was deaf. Though after the child was born, the child was deaf, mute, and hunchback, and his very pitted body was streaming pus and stank terribly. When his mother, the mother of the child, Kamala, saw him, she became very distressed, and in her own heart she wondered, is it right to be in this world? It may be right to be in this world to be without a son, but to have a son like this brings little pleasure and causes great trouble for us. Why doesn't Brahma bring death to me or to this child? How will I now show my face to my good friends? Wailing in this way, she cried terribly because of her pain. On hearing her weeping, her husband, knowing the ways of karma, went to the lying in chamber. He went into his royal chamber. After seeing his very distressed wife and the child in such a condition, he spoke in a gentle voice, comforting her. Do not be distressed, O good lady. Such is the course of karma. A man's share of pain arises from evil committed in former lives, and the man who experiences pain after having found happiness experiences happiness but attains pain again. The happiness and the pain keep repeating like a cycle. This child will not be good for us if we simply lament. That means if we go on like this, it may not do anything good for the child. If a previous deed is attached to the child, he will experience it in the future. We will apply ourselves with excellent herbs. Let's try doing some kind of a medication for him. Let's try to cure the problems that the child is having. Let's apply ourselves for the child with excellent herbs, mantras, drills, austerities, and recitations in accord with the precepts relating to pilgrimage and worship of God. It's believed in Indian culture that we need to offer medicines and we need to do the treatment for any such bad diseases that attacked on a body. But at the same time, blessings of the god is also essential. So people do also follow mantras and they offer austerity, they perform austerities, they offer jewels and various other gifts to the great people, to the knowledgeable people like Brahmin. So they try to do everything in order to perform a holistic treatment. And in that holistic treatment, it also gives them a confidence that whatever treatment that they are doing will be in the good of the child. Oh, beautiful broad woman, do properly whatever is recommended for the boy by the doctors. The good woman understand that, and having got rid of her grief over the boy and cleansed him with water, she rejoiced with her friends and performed a rite that was entirely appropriate for her son's birth, and he respectfully honored the Brahmins while she honored their wives. So in this way, Brahma started narrating one of the story that was remotely linked with Gajanana. We'll later see what is the link. It was a story of a king called Bhima and his wife Charuhasini, who in a meantime though had a wonderful powers and wonderful kingdom for themselves, but they do not have any children. And they both were very unhappy for the same reason, and they both gave up their kingdom into the hands of their minister. They went to forest where they met sage Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra told them what they had done in their previous life. In their previous life, the same King Bhima had forgotten the family custom of performing worship to Gajanana, and worshipping Gajanana became their family act. because 7 generations before, in the same family, there was a king who had got a child, and that child was having all kind of health issues, and he was severely handicapped, and his body was filled with wounds and with the pus oozing out of it. Now, knowing nothing what to do with such a child, they finally decide to do the treatment and at the same time pray God for the health of the child. Let's see in the following chapters what happened with that particular child. Namaste Sharada Devi, Kashmira Puravasini, Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam, Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.